What's up, guys? The Lazy Goldmaker here. Today we're going to take a look at how you can get back into gold making in 11.1, or get into it if you're starting from scratch, because with professional knowledge, with all of these systems, it's kind of hard to figure out where you can start if you haven't been going at it from the beginning. Now, the first things first is that concentration builds, which is what a lot of people were doing early on, still works quite well. So for a concentration build, the general idea is that you will utilize concentration to craft quality 3. So, and then you use quality 2 or maybe even quality 1 materials if they are cheaper, whatever the cheapest is. So we can see right here, this is just a random gem on my jewel crafter. Once I click concentration, I'm making 900 gold. We're making about 3.5 gold per concentration for this specific recipe. If I swap to the deadly one, which is the one I have most skill in, we're looking at 7 gold per concentration, which is a lot better. So if you have a lot of concentration crafters, then you can do that. The nice thing about concentration builds is that they don't really need to be min-maxed. We can see here, this character just has uncommon tools that don't even have a resourcefulness tool or enchant on my tool. Like, we're missing a lot of goodies, but it still works quite well. The downside is that it's sort of limited, because once you run out of concentration, then you just have to wait for the next day or the next 2 days before you can craft more. So that's sort of the downside, and the real money is in volume crafting, something you can repeat every day for however much you want to do. Now, the sad part about the builds that aren't limited by concentration is that they're a lot more expensive and time-consuming to get into, because for them you generally need to have absolutely everything maxed, because then you're trying to craft, either you're looking to craft quality 3 items with no concentration, which means using quality 3 materials for the most part, which means you need to have every last bit of percentage gain, percentage save. You need every bit of resourcefulness, every bit of multi-craft you can have. You also need every bit of skill you have so that you can actually get to the point. And if you have the right ratio, you can sometimes even skimp and add a couple of quality 2 materials to cut your costs down a little bit more. But that means you do need to have full rare professional equipment, which is on the order of 1,000 artisans acuity per crafter. And you need a good bit of knowledge, which depends on the build. But you absolutely need to have a full set of profession gear, and sometimes even the profession epic bag from tailoring, depending on the market. So that means you need a lot of acuity, and catch up exists, but it's kind of slow because you're just doing patron crafting orders for most professions, which show up every day. So you'll get a couple of knowledge points and a couple of acuity. 15-20 acuity maybe extra per day, and then you have the big weekly bonus as well. So that's annoying. Now, there is one way that you can speed farm acuity if you have the gold. It's not super expensive, but it is a little bit. So what you would do is you would pick up enchanting, because enchanting catch-up works by giving you something from disenchanting. So you pick up enchanting, then you need to collect all the treasures. So just fly around and collect treasures until you've done this. This is a weak aura called Muse Knowledge Tracker, by the way. So you need to do the weekly quest. You need to do the stuff you get from treasures, and you need to do some disenchanting, which you also get knowledge from enchanting. Once you've done all of that, you'll unlock the catch-up knowledge for enchanting, which you also get from disenchanting. So then you just disenchant a couple of hundred items, and you'll get 300, 400 knowledge points, which is going to be 5 times that in acuity, and that's going to be enough acuity to kit out 2 professions right away. So that is sort of the speedy way of doing it. Once you have that, then you're looking for builds where you don't need too much knowledge, because obviously, if you're doing this, you need to spend all of your acuity on tools, and you're not going to spend it on these like extra knowledge books or anything like that. So you're going to be on low knowledge if you're starting from scratch. So you're looking for builds where you can take advantage of fairly low knowledge to still reach the required skill or stat threshold, depending on the market. So I have 3 examples. There might be more where you can get there with like 60, 90 knowledge, which is going to take a little bit of time if you're starting completely from scratch, but it's with first craft bonuses and maybe some, if you can reach some of the renowned profession books, which just cost 50 acuity and give you 50 back, then you should be able to get there. So we have three of those lined up. Enchanting, disenchanting essentially. You may also need a something to craft stuff to disenchant with, but you can do the Dark Moon decks, for instance, for epic disenchanting you can buy on the auction house. You pretty much need to max out disenchanting skill here, and that's about it. It isn't affected by stats. Yeah, it is not affected by crafting stats at all. It's only skill. So obviously being a blood elf is going to help. You need maximum profession skill, which is maybe a little bit expensive. Then you need 30 points in the base disenchanting node and then 30 in whatever item quality you're going to disenchant. If you want to do rare disenchanting or uncommon disenchanting, you probably need a best in slot tailor to craft the items you disenchant. If you do epics, then you can buy the Dark Moon decks, which is generally speaking by far the only choice. Buy all of the cards one by one and disenchant those. So here you can reach the required threshold with like 60 knowledge to be as good as anyone else is, essentially, which is quite good for getting into early market. The sad part is this doesn't really translate into anything else, so that is the disadvantage here. Tailoring also has some options. Here we're looking at a build for unraveling only. So what I've put in here is just the stuff for unraveling, where you put 30 points here, and then you put 30 points in weaving and unraveling. And then you need to go to textile treasures, and you need to max out resourcefulness. For unraveling, only resourcefulness matters. If you want to do bolt crafting as well, then you don't really need any more knowledge points here, but you do need to max out the multi-craft node as well. So that is going to be another 45 points. Once you have that, then it's also going to be best in slot for crafting all of the bolts. Then you can utilize that for crafting stuff to disenchant or just selling the bolts on the auction house. Both quality 2 and quality 3 can be done with the setup, and the quality 2 bolts also obviously sell quite well. So this is the tailoring setup. Then you have inscription. Inscription requires a little bit more, but here we're also looking to craft materials mostly. And you need these pursuit of knowledge points, so 30 points here and 30 points in these two, just to maximize your resourcefulness and multi-craft. We're not looking for quality here, so you're just looking to mostly craft quality 2 stuff as cheap as humanly possible, because we're not putting in any points here to get to quality 3 stuff. But a lot of the items from inscription are quite sought after at quality 2 as well, both for obviously both for stuff like treatises, concentration crafting, and other crafts essentially. So demand is real. So those are 3 possible starting builds if you want to go into multi-crafting. And then if you want to do a concentration crafting, which is also great, then I linked a couple of videos from concentration builds in the video description. And when you do go into a concentration build, you will gradually scale into a build where you can do max quality stuff. So I'm pretty sure if I am quite close to getting to maximum quality on some of these gems where I've invested the most. But I don't quite have the stats because I haven't gotten the rare equipment yet. But here you will just be putting points into skill nodes essentially to reach the required skill thresholds, and then be working your way to get the multi-craft and resourcefulness, because every bit of stats is going to help you out in these markets. So yeah, guys, that's it. Good luck. Have fun.